Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'd like to welcome the audience to this edition of Building Intelligence with LoRaWAN. Today we're going to focus the discussion on residential multi-dwelling units, condos, apartments, flats, goes by all sorts of different names in different parts of the world. Before we get started, let's go through a few housekeeping items. If you see the screen lock up or you get the audio and the video are not synced, push F5 on your keyboard and that will hopefully correct that issue. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A section, not in the chat section of the video. You can download the webcast slides and the webcast later on 24 hours after the completion of this broadcast. So today, I got a number of entrepreneurial companies who are experts in the application of technology to make buildings smarter. All of them have chosen LoRaWAN as the connectivity technology to help make that happen. So ask them to share some of their experiences with us on this webinar today. We've got Dean Fungawing, the co-founder and CEO of Kairos, Lubomir from M Climate, Shauna from MileSite, and John Rusk, the founder of ProCentry. Each of them will describe what they're going to talk about when we get to their sections of this webinar. So why LoRaWAN in smart buildings? I'll go through this very quickly, but it's super easy to install. So you can cover a whole building with a single gateway. You can get battery powered devices. You can put them anywhere you want to in the building. Those battery powered devices will last for a long time, so you don't have limitations on where you can place them. It's a mature, stable specification that's been adopted by the ITUT. It's a global standard. And you've got a lot of insurance pressures, tenant safety, and general OpEx reductions that are driving the need for this intelligence in the buildings. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to John from ProCentry. And John, if you'll introduce yourself and give us some background on why you saw the need for this solution you've developed and what you've done with LoRaWAN.
Thank you so much, Byron. It's great to be here. So I'm the founder of ProCentry, which is a building monitoring service that leverages worldwide innovation to provide the best solutions for today and tomorrow, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. So it's a strategy to satisfy both your needs today and for tomorrow. So as a building owner or manager, you have a lot of pressures. You have repair and maintenance issues, tenant retention, insurance, government regulation, and all of those things are toward your most important goal, increasing your net operating income. The question is, for today, what is your need? So it may be repair and maintenance. And in the multi-tenant space, that number on average is around 8%. But if you can move that needle lower, then you're going to improve your NOI. And in fact, if it goes higher because you're having leaks that cause damage because no one's aware of those damages until that water starts to go down 2 or 3 floors, then that percentage is going to go higher. For tenant retention, the average nationwide is 47%, which is just incredibly low. And for those of you who are in the rental business, you know that it's all about tenant retention. If you can keep them there for 2 or 3 cycles, then you're going to have to repaint less often, less marketing, less commission costs. So increasing tenant satisfaction is a real goal to increasing NOI. Because of the disasters, certainly in the US, in Florida, in California, insurance companies are becoming increasingly difficult about renewing buildings that have had reportable insurance loss. We think of water losses as the big tornadoes and hurricanes. In fact, weather-related loss is only 23.8% of their portfolio. Non-weather related loss, the water that's just coming from a broken pipe, is 39.4% of the losses recorded by insurance companies. Finally, there's government regulation. So for instance, in New York City, where we use natural gas to cook, and that applies to many places around the country and around the world, in 2016, after a couple of explosions, New York City passed a law that said once there's a national standard for natural gas detection, all apartments in New York City are going to have to adopt natural gas detectors. For those of you who are in this industry, you know that if the fire department gets a call for a gas leak in a building, if they don't know where the leak is, they're going to come to the building, try to find it, and if they can't find it quickly, they're going to just shut off the gas to the building. In order to turn the gas back on, they're going to pressurize the pipes to 600% of their normal pressure. If they don't hold, and usually they don't, then they're going to lock off the gas, and it becomes a very expensive repiping project for the building. For your need tomorrow, it's pretty much what we see in this slide. We can't see what that need is for tomorrow. But part of what we're talking about today is the benefit of using a full stack integrator of LoRaWAN solutions. LoRaWAN, as you'll hear today, has lots of wonderful solutions from lots of wonderful people, and there's some very smart companies on the call today to explain their incredible solutions. We're an integrator of those solutions. What that means is that we go to buildings, ask them to choose from a range of inexpensive sensors, and install those sensors where needed, when needed. So you may have a need today for water leak detectors, but you may have a need tomorrow for big valves that you need to turn off. You may need mouse traps. You may need to know if a door's left ajar. Whatever you might need for the future is easy to add on to the LoRaWAN platform of ProSentry. So ProSentry's platform then continuously monitors all of those sensors, no matter where they're coming from. We monitor the gateways, and then we display that on a single dashboard for the building. During an event, notifications are made via the app, text message, emails, but for us, most importantly, we have a live operator call that calls either the front desk of the building or the building's resident manager to say, hey, there's a water leak at the dishwasher in apartment 21J, and that results in action being able to be taken immediately to address the incident, avoid damage. There's a lot of device options. Right now on our platform, we have sensors for water leaks, temperature, and humidity. That will alarm, for instance, in New York City when the temperature gets down to 50 degrees. So you know, oh my goodness, somebody's left their window, the radiator's off, go up there before we have a pipe freeze. Natural gas leak detectors, exhaust fan detectors, boiler temperature detectors. So you know if your boiler has gone cold before your tenant calls you to say, hey, I have no hot water for my shower. Doors and window ajar sensors, roof and terrace drain sensors, some pit water level sensors, trash overflow, elevator motion, steam traps to know you're not just pouring steam down the drain because you have a broken steam trap. We have a sensor to let you know. We have incredibly effective mouse traps, automatic and remote water shutoff valves, sensors for people who are smoking or vaping where they're not supposed to be, and water usage metering. We have valves. So if you are in a commercial building, multi-dwelling, multi-tenant, you're going to need valves everywhere from 3/4 inch to big valves. And so ProSentry, because we're focused on this commercial market, we have valves up to 10 inches. So no matter what the need in today or in the future, the integrator is able to take care of that. For utility monitoring and metering, we both monitor indoor air quality and temperature conditions, but we can also meter for electrical usage and water usage. So that's a big thing in New York City, retrofitting buildings, because oftentimes you have no good way to meter the water. What we've learned is that about 90% of the water in an apartment is used at the shower head, the toilet, and the hot water in the sink. So we install these LoRaWAN sensors on the simple speedy connector, and suddenly you're able to meter the water and then go back and bill your tenants. ProSentry and LoRaWAN provides a great solution from builder's risk to smart building solutions. So during the construction of the building, where you may have a builder's risk deductible of $100,000 or $250,000, you can use point of leak water leak detection systems around stacks. And then as you build the apartments, you can set those sensors behind toilets, underneath sinks, underneath dishwashers. So during construction, if a speedy pops and all of a sudden you start a water leak, you're able to immediately turn off that valve, stop the loss. But then it means once you've opened the building, these sensors are in place. So now you're marketing a smart building. So your tenants who may want to go to Florida for the summer, or for the winter, they know that their apartment's being monitored the whole time. So it's a great way of going from builder's risk all the way to a full-time smart building solution. Our system, at 1 second, there's detection, Within 20 seconds, there's a mobile alert. Within 50 seconds, there's a live operator call to the building, whoever they need, which means within 2 minutes, there's a staff response so you can take care of those things. The value proposition of the integrator, the company that leverages devices from all over the world, it is the most solutions available. We leverage worldwide technology for innovation, for low price, which we understand is very important in the multi-dwelling world, and also for reliability. We do rigorous testing, both with the LoRa Alliance and also with our partner Senate, to make sure that the devices are going to have that 10-year battery life and also are going to remain connected. We're providing commercial-grade hardware for multi-tenant applications. So ProSentry saves money, improves tenant satisfaction, satisfies insurers, meets regulations, improves your NOI, and provides the maximum options for your future. So ProSentry, building monitoring simplified. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, John. I want to ask you really quickly, the way you wrapped up your presentation there, of those things that you showed, what in your experience is the biggest driver, the slide before that, what in your experience is the biggest driver, the insurance cost reduction, tenant satisfaction, ROI return, cost reductions? What are you seeing as the biggest driver?
So what we're seeing in the world is that because of insurance, they're now requiring these systems. So we're seeing situations where we're making a proposal to a building to put in a water leak detection system. I'll meet with the board and I'll be warned beforehand, you're not going to have to work very hard. And I say, well, why is that? And I'll be told, well, because they've just been notified by their insurer that unless they put in a point of water leak detection system, they're not getting insurance. We're also seeing it for buildings that have had large losses. They realize, oh my God, for the cost of a $75 sensor, we could have avoided wiping out our elevators because we just had a boiler room loss, a water leak. Nobody was down there. The water poured for 2 hours, and we knew about it because suddenly the elevators went down because the water filled the pits. So we're seeing it both from buildings that have had catastrophes and need to do something, and then those buildings that are under pressure from insurance. And then we're finding as we present the solution, the fact that we have all these options for the future is the reason why they're signing up with us.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate that insight. Oh, whoops, sorry, went too far there. Okay, so we're gonna bring on Lubomir now from mClimate. I think he is going to focus a bit more on energy efficiency and the way that some of their solutions have been able to help building owners achieve those goals. So Lubomir, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Byron. Well, hello, everybody. I'm the founder and CEO of mClimate, and at mClimate, we basically make any building smart. Why we do this is because we want to decarbonize buildings. Buildings contribute, basically they use about 40% of the energy in the EU, and they contribute for 36% of the CO2 emissions. So it's a huge problem. In the meantime, it's interesting statistic that 75% of the buildings in Europe are actually considered energy inefficient. So if we want to, tackle the climate problems, buildings are definitely one place where we should focus. And this is exactly what we do. So, here I've listed some of our key clients, but the thing that people are most motivated by, I would say, is first, the ESG perspective, and second, the energy savings that they can generate, especially with the fluctuating, energy prices. Further than that, actually, there is some reduced operating and maintenance cost of systems once you have installed small sensors inside them. And a key element in our business was, investing in LoRaWAN. Since LoRaWAN gives you this pretty nice long coverage with a single gateway, you can cover an entire building. And, we always advise having at least 2 gateways for redundancy purposes. But it also allows devices to run on batteries for a very long time. So our devices range anywhere between 8 to 12 years. And this is the way we actually measure, the impact that our company does. This is just a small sample. But here you can see that for some projects, for example, the public HQ in Germany, a whole forest, many thousands of trees should have been planted 10 years ago to basically offset the same amount of CO2 that we offset through smart heating controls in this building for one single year. So I think the impact of having smart technologies inside building is obvious this way. Now, what type of products do we have? We are a product company. First, I would say that we actually have a few offerings. We either sell the hardware only, which is very well documented. The documentation is public. There are a lot of developer tools as well. So if somebody wants to integrate our products into their system, this is completely doable. The second, model that we have is we sell our products together with our software. It's not mandatory that you get the software, but the software, it's being designed by us. It's basically one of the best softwares for our products. Together with the software, you get also a mobile application for your tenants. And the last option, it's basically a combination of the previous two, but white label. And I must say that we also manufacture locally in the EU. And now going to the products. We have three main solutions. The first one is indoor climate optimization. And we're a company that really invests more into actuators, controllers, rather than just sensors. But here we have the first product, Vicky. Vicky is a smart radiator thermostat. So anywhere where you have a radiator, you can put Vicky and you can save up to 35%. And there are a number of other benefits that I'm going to discuss in the case studies. The second product that we have is the H&T LoRaWAN sensor, which is just a simple temperature and humidity sensor with 10 years of battery life. And then a really interesting product that we recently launched is the wireless thermostat. So the wireless thermostat features e-ink display, a motion sensor, but what's really fascinating about it is that it actually doesn't need any batteries. We have a solar panel out there. It's an organic solar panel, which basically captures the indoor light and converts it into energy. So here, LoRaWAN basically expands into not a promise of how many years it's going to survive on batteries, but in general, completely free maintenance of the LoRaWAN devices. Last but not least, in the indoor climate optimization solutions, we have the Fenco thermostat, which is not launched yet, but it is a great, thermostat for Fenco units, super popular, in hotels, business buildings, etc. The second type of solution that we have, it's air quality and CO2 monitoring. So we have a CO2 sensor and notifier, meaning that it has a buzzer inside. It has an LED light telling you, what is the level of the CO2. And then we have the new version of this, which also features ink display and also solar panels. So the promise for never having to change your batteries. We do have a water control solution where we have a flood sensor and a water shutoff valve, and we have automation solution which has a typical open-close sensor and a typical multi-purpose button which you can use for many things. The enterprise itself, it's a separate solution, but it's a end-to-end platform designed to serve to serve fleets of buildings. We do have customers using the enterprise, for example, real estate companies with more than 100 buildings. So they can all oversee it from one place. They can monitor, they can control, they can give access to their tenants, for example, which later can access, for example, through the mobile application. So, it's a great solution. But here I again put the emphasis that actually it's not mandatory that you use our software with our products, since it's an open protocol, as it has become the status quo with LoRaWAN to a large extent. You have this kind of no vendor lock-in. Even if you start with mClimate Enterprise, you can switch to something else later. The types of buildings that we service are those. We have a lot of installations here. Maybe is time to say, in terms of scale, we're well over 500,000 devices already installed. And a large portion of this is actually in multi-dwelling buildings. But we also serve other types. And I'm going to go to the case studies. For example, this is a white label that we're doing for somebody, for a company that I cannot really name, but they've installed more than 80,000 VKIs, so radiator thermostatic valves, in residential buildings in their country. And what they're doing is they're not only giving, the promise of savings. They're also talking about, the ESG angle, but super importantly, comfort. Because at the end, whatever you install into those buildings with your tenants, if they lose their comfort, that's not good for you. Interesting thing about Viki is that you can also perform hydronic balancing with this. So meaning that if one apartment is not getting enough heat and another apartment is getting, too much heat, basically if you install Viki, you get the hydronic balancing. And last but not least, another thing that this client is doing is they're basically performing demand response, so to say, or peak shaving, as it's called in the industry. But they're shifting the peak. Instead of having to use too much energy when everybody gets home and cranks up their let's say, appliances, what they're doing is they're preheating the apartments to a temperature, close to the nice living temperature of the tenant, so that when they come home and there's a sudden peaky demand, actually the network can take it. And to do so, they also partnering with local utilities. So there's a lot of value proposition in this. It's not only controlling or monitoring the houses. It's not only energy efficiency, but it's greater comfort. And also helping and unlocking other models. For example, working with the utility. The second use case I want to tell you today about, it's again about Viki. And if you want to see more use cases, you can go to our website. We have use cases with other products that we're offering. But this one was done with a super nice company, Voitech, from the UK, where they installed Vikis into retirement homes. And all of a sudden, most of the complaints about the heating stopped. And not only that, but they also saved energy. The Viki, it's installed in a few minutes. And, if you use whatever software you use, actually, also doesn't take too much time to set up. But just the savings in terms of CO2, in terms of energy, with those fluctuating prices are huge. And to me, this is one of the, go-to solutions when you think about how can I make my building more energy efficient, but also, higher in value, because once you install devices once you retrofit the building and make it smart, you also naturally increase the value of this building. So thank you. That's all for me. Byron, I'm not sure we can hear you. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I was just sitting here thinking how it was kind of cool to have those two presentations back to back, because it sort of compares and contrasts the different ways you can go about offering a solution in the market. So, I think, John and ProCentry have partnered with a lot of people in the ecosystem to bring in sensors that they use to provide their solution. You've built your own sensors, which you can use as part of a full solution, but you also provide those sensors to other people in the market, I think, just as standalone hardware. So there's not one way to do this. There's many ways to kind of get to the same end. So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Byron.
So now we'll kick it over to Dean from Kairos. Dean is going to share some cool use cases and talk about their solution that they have for water management, water leak detection, things like that. So Dean, I'll give it over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dean. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Kairos. We're a digital water technology company focused on asset protection and water conservation. We achieve this through the use of advanced metering and leak detection technology that we've patented in-house, along with a combination of some custom solutions that we've put together uniquely to address the issues of sustainability and asset protection across smart building and the smart built environment just globally. So I'll cover some interesting topics regarding actual use cases. We've got 3 exact cases, 2 live ones that are currently in the process of construction, and then we'll talk about a project that we did for a customer that did a retrofit. And I'll focus, because we've heard some other interesting solutions here. We've kind of have a lay of the land for IoT and why we think LoRaWAN is a fantastic use case for the smart building environment. And I'm going to focus on the high risk, high rise, and the rewards of smart and sustainable technology that we've implemented. And I'll start with this first use case. This is a building in Beverly Hills. This customer came to us in 2020, and they had a leak in that building from a small drip hose, hose behind a washing machine that had dripped for about 3 months. And the water dripped from the 30th floor laundry room very, very slowly for 3 months straight and came through the lobby of the building. The rents of the building are $25,000 a month. It was a very expensive proposition. It was over $1 million claim to the insurance, and they came to us and said, look, we want to trial your solution. They put us in a handful of apartment units just to see the resiliency, the reliability, the capability of LoRaWAN. And so they were looking for a discrete solution. We print flexible membrane technology. We have a patent on it in the US, the UK, the EU, and we actually take this technology, we can apply it anywhere in the building. And so they love the flexibility of being able to have a unique sensor that goes just behind a toilet bowl, or a unique sensor that goes in the pump and mechanical room, or that can go inside the walls of a building. And so they trialed the technology, but during that 12-month trial, they actually had a tub overflow because a resident was drinking wine and fell asleep in the tub, and the tub overflowed and caused $300,000 worth of damage. It was not one of the apartments that we were actually monitoring. So needless to say, when they compared us to the competition in the space, they recognized very quickly that having a puck sensor in apartments wasn't good enough. First of all, because they were very discerning kind of client that said, look, we don't want something visible that the resident can see or kick or touch or remove or tamper with that could in any way compromise the risk management of the building. And so we installed discreetly using our flexible sensor technology behind toilet bowls and underneath and behind cabinets in the kitchen and areas in the laundry room. And once we installed our tech, they have not had any claims. We put roughly 1,500 leak detection devices in that building. We caught, if you look in the top right corner, you'll see one of their water containment centers inside the building on the 42nd floor. And they actually had a weld joint give on one of the water containment systems at the top of the building. We caught it so early that they were able to get the water drained out, isolate the system, and re-weld that. Now, this building was only 6 years old at the time, and a lot of times folks think, it's New York City, it's these 50-year-old buildings, but it's not necessarily true. Sometimes there's defects, sometimes there's errors and omissions, especially in these complicated buildings with skilled labor shortages. You're seeing more and more compromises in a building's plumbing infrastructure as time goes on. And the insurance companies across the world, it is the single largest category of losses for any insurance company. It typically represents around 30% of their losses. And so it's a $300 billion global problem. And so we help this client avoid having any insurance claims over the last 2 years, to the point where their insurance company cornered us and said, how are you doing this? Right? Because they had a loss history that effectively had them in a position where either A, they were not going to cover it and their deductible is $1 million, or, it's just, they're going to have to figure out a way to find another insurance company. Right. So we help them achieve success. We now have their entire portfolio across the United States. and they're a premier developer. What the solution that we put together, again, leak detection, flexible sensors. We have our multifunction sensor that can also detect the environmental temperature inside the location where the leak sensor is located. And then, of course, we use only about 7 gateways in that building to blanket the entire asset, because this is mission critical technology. Every 15 minutes, you get a status update on what the conditions inside that building are. But if there's a leak, obviously instantly sends out a message, text message, email notifications, even after hour phone calls. The concierge can get notified, the property management and asset management team can get notified. So that was a great success story we saw in a very high-end Class A multifamily building. Moving on from that use case is something more interesting that we're seeing a lot of demand on. This is a project for a high-rise construction asset, and they wanted to find a solution during construction that could potentially carry over long-term for the asset. And the baseline recommendations and requirements from a lot of the builder's risk insurance providers was that you must have a shut-off valve, you must have water flow monitoring, and it has to be able to work all the time, right? The after-hours notifications have to be in place. And so we are installing this for a large portfolio all across the United States, because when you look at the average construction claim, the average losses aren't 30%. They're actually 50%, right? They represent 50% of the total losses. And so it's a much higher category for them, with the average claim being anywhere between $10 and $19 million, taking 4 years to settle, and also delaying the construction project. So now you have financial impact to the owner, the developer. Your pro forma doesn't pan out. You've got risk to the lending facility that has to maybe get recasted or refinanced. And so there's just a lot of tension that happens when you have water risk, and it is the #1 source of claims for construction sites. So we have valve systems that can go down to 3/4 of an inch all the way up to 24 inches. And we've got ultrasonic water meters that work together with a wireless controller to communicate, and actuate valves that need to be shut off at the different zones inside the building's MEP infrastructure. So that's a unique case that we have going on in Texas, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Florida. We've got it all over the country, and we're seeing a lot of success there as well. And then, of course, we have a project where I think it's unique that it highlights, both the overlap of the resiliency and the sustainability aspects of monitoring water consumption in a building, being able to control and actuate flow systems, and being able to detect physical intrusion. Water is what I call a wide context problem. So narrow context problem is like a light bulb that goes out in your office, right? It's either the light switch or it's the light bulb. So that's narrow context. When water threatens a building, it can come from plumbed sources. It can come from unplumbed sources. And when you're dealing with a smart building environment, you have to be able to tackle it in a comprehensive fashion. And this is probably a prime example. This is a $1.5 billion project down in Miami, and where we are installing technology during construction on the riser stacks. We have our flexible strip sensor technology can wrap around the riser stack. So if water runs down the riser stack, you know exactly where it started. As you go up the floors in the building during construction, you don't undo what is being built during the phases of construction. In certain states, there's a requirement to have water metering technology in place that is certified as commercial grade technology because there's laws around utility billing. And so you have to have advanced water metering technology in place so that you can have that expense recovery. What's unique about us is we're the world's only ultrasonic water metering technology. It's completely battery operated that has a control valve built into the body of the unit and operates on a 12-year battery that's certified. We're also the only plenum rated ultrasonic water meter on the planet. So these are unique requirements to have in some commercial buildings because you can't have a water meter catch on fire and create toxins in the air. And so we needed 1,100 water meters, both on hot and cold, for this building to supply the utility expense recovery capabilities for that building. All of that sits on the LoRaWAN stack with gateways that are secured by AWS from end to end with our software. And of course, we can integrate with on-prem BMS systems as needed with specialized gateways that can have both data shared right there to the BAS, but also shared to the cloud. We have quarter-inch ball valves or quarter-turn ball valves, as well as butterfly valves that go in this building to protect the water mains, fire suppression systems, and just to really create a comprehensive solution for this building. So that's a unique project that we've got going on live right now as we speak. So thank you for your time. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about our solutions. Byron?
Dean, I think he dropped off the call accidentally, so I think Shauna is going to come up next.
Everyone, sorry. Okay, thank you. So you can just give it to me directly. Thank you, Dean, and thank you for the great presentation from all of the three gentlemen. And this is Shauna from Mouseat product marketing team. So for today, I will introduce one of the successful story from Mouseat, which will focus on the trash and water leak management for the residential buildings. But before that, let me do some brief introduction for Mouseat. Mouseat is a professional digital sensing devices provider, which enabling the creating and the management of different solutions. For example, the smart city, smart agriculture, smart buildings, etc. And we believe that the complexity of high efficiency, quick connectivity, and smart communication that can be integrated into the AIoT solutions. So our distribution and development of these products also show our commitment to a transformer, to a digital transformer for a safer and smarter and more connected world. And with years of development since 2011, Mouseat is continuing providing our customers and partners with the superior product quality as well as the professional service from our high-trained and innovative team. And there are over 600 employees in our company. They are highly cooperative with each other to provide the best service, the best products, as well as the professional support. Moreover, we are also working with over 2,000 partners, including the distributors, the system integrators, as well as the solution integrators or solution providers in the world to help them to build up the comprehensive end-to-end solutions and to serve over 120 countries and regions in the world. So in a word, we gotta say that Mouseat will be a very reliable partner for you to choose to deploy the LoRaWAN solutions here. And now let's go back to the topic for today, the smarter dwelling building management based on LoRaWAN technology. We know that, like with the rapid development of the modern society and the high increased demand on residential building management, usually the property management agencies, like in China, there are some agencies or the property manager companies, they are charging for the community management or the building management there, and they are under pressure that to improve the operation efficiency and to improve the tenant satisfaction, as well as what they have to do is to integrate the legacy system with the new facilities. But LoRaWAN will offer a very ideal solution for this to help them to make the residential building management to be more sustainable and more efficiently. But and this one, the Artisan Garden, it is the very great residential project that is in Hong Kong, which offering 294 units on 31 floors there. And what they ask for is to trying to improve the efficiency on the waste management as well as to avoid the water damage risks in the buildings. So before they applying the LoRaWAN solutions there, they have faced numerous problems while collecting waste. For example, they have to continuously check the status of the waste bins and to see whether they are full or whether they are empty, and the cleaning staff need to remove all of the waste at an appropriate time. But we know that in a building, from the papers to the food scraps to the used paper towel rings, the residential buildings occupants, they will generate a variety of waste and a lot of it. So if the cleaning staff, they only clean this waste at a predetermined time or routine, there will have some like overflowing trash bins in some floors of that. So which cause the bad environment and bad experience for the living tenants there. And so that beside that, also in artisan garden, in the common area, as well as the trash bins, as well as the garbage rooms, they have to be cleaned to a high standard. So for the convenience of the cleaning cooks, there is a faucet is designed on each floor. But there comes the problem. The water leaks from the broken faucet or the leaky pipe. It will be a big deal when the water seeps into the elevator pit or like spread to the tenants. So the property manager companies, they are eager for an effective solution for all of these problems. But the prevailing wired systems, they are neither optimized nor efficient because the agencies, they have to pay more for the reconstruction cable, as well as like they have to suffer some construction duration delay of that, and also to spend higher expenses on this. And for the tenants, they also have to endure some problems because of the reconstruction. So considering the trash bin efficiency and the water leak detection, as well as the wireless deployment, the LoRaWAN solution from our side has been submitted to satisfy all of the requirements above and even more of this. By using the cost-effective and easy-to-use sensors, as well as the gateways or the IoT platforms from our side, we can solve all of the problems with a very easy way, and this will enable the facilities management companies to establish a private networks on a scalable and secure infrastructure. So that is why we do this project and why the customer asked for the solution there. And now let's see how the whole solution has been deployed there. So spread out through the building, there are multiple gateways and several gateways and multiple sensors in the buildings. The smart bin sensor EM310 UDL, which is based on ultrasonic technology, it can help to monitor the available room of every bin in real time and to send the alarm immediately and in time to the cleaning staff to remove the waste to avoid the overflowing situation. While the spot leak detection sensor, they have been installed on the bottom of the doors, so they can sense the water leak immediately and sending the alarm to the managers to do some repairment. And cooperate with the high performance gateway, our LoRaWAN gateway UG65, which is installed on the shelf of the building, and it will help to cover a wider range of this building up to 12 stories from the testing result shows. So that means for the users, they don't have to put a lot of gateways in each story. They only need several of them, and in some way it saves a lot of cost for us for deploying a complete solution and complete network for the LoRaWAN. And along with our Master IoT cloud there, it will help to realize the data visualization, data report, or sending alarming, sending email, sending text, or even like have a call for the managers to tell them, oh, there is something happened, and there is maybe the leakage, there's overflowing, and you have to fix that. So that is the whole system, how it works. And what's the best is that in the building, the LoRaWAN transmission to the platform, this way it can be based on the pre-existing Wi-Fi network. So for the users, they don't have to deploy another network for the transmission. Everything will be very easy and everything will be cost effective. So that is how we deploy the whole solution there. And you can see from the pictures and the installation or like the configuration will be very easy because you can only use the phone, and we will provide the toolbox app to realize the configuration through the NFC scan. So that's very simple. You can just edit it on the app directly, and then you can make the connection. And that is how the solution works there. And with this solution being deployed, there are some significantly benefits from this solution. First of all, of course, it helps to reduce a lot of overflowing situations or water leakage damages for the buildings. And for the users, they don't have to learn, or they don't have to have the strong technical background to use this solution. They just need to learn some simple operation. They just need to do some simple steps. Then they can finish the whole. Then they can finish the whole deployment. And also, it is a server-based strategy, so you can set some smart triggers on the platforms or on the devices itself. It will realize some very smart connection between the devices and between the whole system and between the devices or the management with the managers and with the cleaner staffs together. So that is how we what we get from these whole solutions there. What we can say is that no matter from the easy operation or from the cost effective or from the avoiding for the damage situations, the LoRa solution will help a lot with that. And considering the LoRa technology with the low power consumption, it will enable our mouse-side sensors with up to 10 years of battery life. That means all of the sensors can work with a long life, but without replacement of battery or without recharge of it. So that is how it works and how it looks like. And last, I want to say in mouse side, that is only one of the successful case in China or in Hong Kong from mouse side. But we also have plenty of different sensors and gateways and routers, as well as some other controllers for the whole IoT solutions. If you got any requirements, I believe we will have the appropriate product portfolio to satisfy your requirements. All right, so that is all about my presentation for today. Thank you all.
Everything together, use cases, similar use cases.
I think we're having a hard time hearing you, Byron.
Yeah.
Market, one on the EU market, and then.
Sorry, we cannot hear very clear.
Yeah, I think unfortunately Byron, our great leader, unfortunately is having a hard time with his internet connection. Sorry to see that. So he's asked me to take over here. So the LoRa Alliance, if you are interested in becoming a member of the LoRa Alliance and learning more about both the LoRaWAN technology and all of the various solutions you've heard about today, if you are a LoRaWAN solution provider, you can grow your LoRaWAN business. You can collaborate with the many LoRaWAN companies that are within this ecosphere. You can accelerate your time to market, turbocharge your marketing. They have a free pre-certification testing tool, and that certification is so important for the devices on the platform. Help you develop your career, including getting certified as a LoRaWAN professional, boost your brand, and of course, the very important regulatory support that the LoRa Alliance does to help all of these devices meet the requirements according to the various countries. There is the LoRaWAN accredited professional. There is a pathway to this in which you can show off your LoRaWAN knowledge and advance your IoT career. So you can simply go to that website to find out more about becoming a LoRaWAN accredited professional and really boost your career in this area if you're interested. LoRaWAN Live in Tokyo, Japan. That's October 11th and 12th. If you're interested, be sure to sign up today. It'll be at the Hilton Tokyo in Shinjuku City. And that's open to all membership levels and the public. And there's the website for that to go to it. So thank you very much. We're now going to move over to question and answers. So if you have questions for the group here today, if you could go into the Q&A area on your dashboard, type in a question, and we will be happy to answer those questions. Thank you very much for your attention, and it was great to hear from all these amazing colleagues of mine here at the LoRaWAN Alliance. Thanks.
Okay, we will get to the question and answer session now. I'm miraculously back. John, thank you for steering the ship while I had ill-timed technical difficulties. We got several questions here, so we'll jump right into them. So this one is specifically for Lubomir from mClimate. Somebody would like to know if you're already producing the thermostatic valve called Vicky as an OEM product, and what would they have to do to get that product in terms of quantities, conditions, et cetera?
Yeah, thank you, Byron. Yeah, we indeed have a few OEM customers. So you can imagine that per month, I mean, I'm not going to talk about the manufacturing units per month, but each batch that we do is 10K, and that's agreement with the factory. It is how we are efficient. So the minimum quantity for OEM, therefore it's 10K a year. And Uwe, we're going to send you more information. You're going to receive it from my colleagues on your email soon.
Okay, great. Next question is both for mClimate and ProCentry. They're basically asking to explain if you are able to address specific use case, which is to monitor if the AC is on or off, the lights are on or off. For the example of, employees forgot to switch them off when they left the area. So maybe Lubomir, you go first, and then John can address it.
Okay, sure. So yeah, we most definitely address those use cases, at least the control of the HVAC system. Because at the end of the day, if you take a look at a building, if it's equipped with LED lights, then the biggest consumer is the HVAC. So yeah, we have a few types of thermostats, for example, for FANCO units, for radiators, for boilers, and very soon we're going to have a thermostat for infrared ACs as well. So we're trying to, make devices that are compatible with more and more types of appliances. And when it comes to light, we're right now not in the lights, but maybe John is. So, John, do you want to take over?
Thank you very much, Lubomir. Amadou, great question. We are, and as I mentioned during the webcast, the main part, we're an integrator, and so we're always interested in clients' questions and requests of their particular use case. So currently, we do not have a monitor to let you know that the AC is off, but I would love to get your contact information because I think that's something that we could reach out to all the vendors in our network and find out if someone does have a specific AC monitor, see if it's on or off. I know that we do have currently a switch that could turn it off. Likewise, for the lights, we're only just a step away. We've never been asked to do that, but we do have a way to remote turn them off. And I know, for instance, MileSite has a very good light sensor. So that would be very easy and quick for us to get up on our platform, which would let you automatically, we could set, if it's past a certain time during the day and the lights are still on, we would trigger a turn off. So happy to discuss that with you if you could reach out to me and we could work out a solution for that.
You want to give him your email address, John?
Sure, it's jrusk, JRUSK, at prosentry.com, PROSENTRY. And we are always up for challenges. Just last week, we got this request for a steam trap. It took us about 15 minutes to figure it out, and now we have a solution for steam traps. So we're always looking for your particular use case and how we can solve it for you.
Okay, so next question is from Tim. It's directed to Kairos. There's actually kind of two parts to it, or two sections. So he'd like to know how they were testing your sensors in a live building, and also how your sensors are able to detect small leaks or drips that could be potentially inside the wall and never reach a leak sensor that's placed on the ground or something under a dishwasher, for example.
Yeah, so I think the first question in terms of testing it in a live building, I don't know if I fully understand the nature of that question, because all of the buildings that we go into are either during construction or post-construction, so they're always live. In terms of us testing, like to figure out if it would work in a building, when we were in the early stages of development, we certainly, tested it, through elevator shafts and concrete and rebar, and we did long distance tests. I think the longest distance we got was around 2 miles between the device and a base station. But we've, to answer your second question, which I think is one that we've definitely done before, is when they're constructing the building, before they close up walls, we have a material that can actually get installed behind the walls. It's a binary sensor that's got an adhesive stripping on the back. It's got silver nano ink in the inside of it, and it gets connected to our module, which it just has a plug right here. We are going to have a European standard for USB-C in January, which is this device right here. It just plugs in the wall, so this device can sit in an outlet. It gets plugged in, and then the material can actually sit behind the walls. And we have very long cables that can get connected to it, or we can use the strip sensor and wrap it around the pipe. And I think that's what's unique about Kairos' technology, is that we have flexible printed sensors, all different shapes and sizes. This one's for a toilet bowl, goes behind the toilet bowl on the floor. It's got a very strong adhesive and is designed for environments that are typically wetter than normal. So if you've got a very high moisture environment, our sensors we can print the sensitivity of the sensor by printing the connectors either closer or further apart.
So, and Tim had a follow-up. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but basically, are you finding that there's insurance incentives for people that install the solution?
Yes, we just got off the phone with an insurance carrier yesterday. I can't name them yet because we're going to announce a pretty large partnership with them, but they're one of the biggest in this space, and they cover like very high-end homes. I think John has experience with these homes in New York City, but these are like, $50 million condos, $90 million condos, and the insurance deductibles can be as high as $50,000, right? And so these homeowners care about protecting their assets, and our technology can be placed in their homes, and they get, I think for shut-off valves, they get like 8% off with this carrier. And we've even seen as high as like 10% off. And then the announcement that's going to be made very soon is, I think November and December, in several major markets, they are going to demand this on all policy renewals and all new policies that get binded by insurance, is that they have to have our technology in place. So this is coming, and it's already happening. It's already happened on the consumer side, but it's coming to the commercial side as well. So we're seeing both. The answer is yes, we do get discounts. I think Tim had a question about drywall or stucco. Byron.
Yeah, well, let me come back to that if we have more time. I want to ask this other one here for Milesite, because we're probably just about out of time.
Okay.
So he has asked if he has heard that the Milesite IoT cloud platform is restricted to Milesite devices only. Is this correct, or can he use essentially third-party devices from other vendors on a Milesite enabled LoRa network?
For now, Mouseat IoT Cloud Platform is only compatible with our own devices, but actually our LoRaWAN gateways and our devices, they are based on the standard LoRaWAN protocols. So actually, if you wanted to group different types of the or different vendors of the devices together and to their own platform, that will be possible because our LoRaWAN gateway will be support the MQTT transmission and HTTP transmission. So our devices can be compatible with some other third-party platforms, but our own platform can be only for our own devices. All right. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
sorry. Yeah, one more. Because I want to say is we are working on upgrading our cloud platform. So maybe next year it will be more opening. Yeah, that's.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very good. Unfortunately, we do have a few more questions. Unfortunately, we're kind of out of time. I am happy to answer your question and direct it to the right person. If you want to email me, my email address is my first initial and last name at semtech.com, semtech.com, and I'm happy to direct the question to the right person or answer it myself. Thank you again, everybody, for joining the session. Thank you for all your questions. And the video will be available for review at a later time for you to watch again or to forward to other people. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next Smart Buildings webinar.